Nice, quiet day, flying around, just flying over me mates. And, there's Wembley Stadium in the back. Oh my God, what happened? I think I must have just fallen through the floor of the world into in the Matrix. Oh my God, I'm back in the real world again. Thank God for that. Let's pick up some control, fly back over that road. Let's get back into the park, a little bit of a roll, just check my view. Oh, hold on. I'm back in the Matrix again. Can't help it. Oh my God, what's going on? Don't worry. Don't freak out. This is not the end of the world. All that's happened is, as I'm flying the aircraft, part of the dogfight system records telemetry. And what you've just seen is a demonstration of viewing a flight after the flight has happened. Please don't panic. Normal service will be resumed shortly.
So after I've been flying, you come down, you land your aircraft, you disarm it, you disconnect the battery, no problem. As I've mentioned before, there's a switch on the unit that allows you to go into what's called web mode, where the aircraft isn't there to fly a mission. It starts its own internal web server that you can connect to, and the mission that you just flew, it's recording telemetry information. So it's latitude, longitude, altitude, your pitch and roll, and also game statistics if you're doing dogfighting. But that all gets recorded on the PyPico. And what this web server is going to allow you to do, one of the things it's going to allow you to do is to upload those log files and be able to view them on Google Earth. So I'll just talk you through that process. So when you reboot your machine, I'll just simulate that right now. I'll just start running the main program. So it will start up. And what it actually does is it will very first realize that it's in web mode because of the switch. If you remember, there's a switch for normal flying and then in web mode, and it will come up in web mode. You won't see any of this because the unit is inside the aircraft, but you'll just remember the fact that if you go to this IP address, right, 192.168.4.1, then you'll be able to connect to the web server that's on the PyPico. So you can see now it's actually connected. So it's got a connection from a client. The client is actually my PC. So it's connected, right? So if I go into my web server now and I type in 192.168.4.1, press return, it comes up with this, which is the base website for the server. So this is coming from your aircraft, right? So your aircraft is serving up this web page, right? So you can start a game, you can do the match setup. But what we're interested in here is the logs that come from a previous flight that we've done. So if I click on the KML builder, which is exactly what it is, right? What happens is it's now read all the log files that it has from the aircraft. And this is purely cyclic. You don't have to worry about space management on the aircraft, because if it starts to run out of space to store logs, it just basically trims the old logs. And so it's constantly cycling on whatever space happens to be available, right? So it uses the maximum amount of room to record the maximum amount of data for flights. So you can see I've got a bunch of flights on here, right? So if I select this one here, then I can download that as what's called a KMZ file. Don't worry about that too much. The KMZ file is just the file type that Google Earth can just read, right? Sample stride is, it works at 2 hertz. So basically it takes two telemetry records every second, right? So you can say display every one of those, or you can actually, if you put a higher number in there, it's going to basically skip. So you'll get a lower resolution. It depends on the performance of your computer, but I've not actually found an instance where a sample stride of 1 is not acceptable, right? Playback speed, we're going to play it back in real time. You can either make this go faster or slower. Don't worry about the debug. We want to include a cockpit HUD. What it basically does is it takes all that telemetry information and not just produces the Google Earth trace that you can fly around, but it also tries to put a HUD on the screen so you can see what was your altitude, what was your speed, all sorts of good information that you can get from the telemetry log files. It just makes it nicer to look at, to be fair. And when you've decided you've set all your options properly, right, you just go to this download KMZ, and you can see that it basically reads a bunch of data, it produces a bunch of HUD frames, and eventually you'll see this comes up here. This comes up because this aeroplane that you've just connected to, your browser doesn't know if it's a dodgy site or not, right? So all you're saying is I want to keep this. Okay, so you keep it. And when it's finished downloading it and producing it, then what you're going to do is you're just going to press on this, and Google Earth is going to come up. Of course, it's going to start it on another window, not the one I'm currently looking at. So you can see that Google Earth has started up here. So here's my website where I did the page, and here's the code that's running. So it's still running. I can stop it now. It's finished. I don't need it anymore, so I can shut the aeroplane down. But what I've basically got here is I've got a representation of my entire flight. So I can zoom in on it. I can look around it. Yeah, all the normal stuff that you can do with Google Earth, right? And if I pick a different place, I can make that my pivot point. I can move around and see, well, that was quite an active little flight, right? So you can see that the head-up display's there, right? So you can see you get your heading, you get your altitude, you get your above ground level. So obviously we're at the home position, so it's currently 0. I'm not traveling anywhere, and I'm 0 seconds into the flight. If you come over to this side here, you'll see that there's like a tree structure that comes down. The two that you're interested in is the cockpit view and the God view. Let's look at God view first. So what God view basically is let's open this up to full screen. God view basically is what it sounds like, right? You're God, you're looking down on the flight. So if I start to run this, you'll see that I'm just it gently cycles around as the flight starts to run. Now I've armed the aircraft and I just haven't thrown it just yet. So in a minute, what you'll see that the aircraft will start to move, which is where I've launched the aircraft. You can just see the aircraft symbol just down there. Now we start to fly. We come up, and then it goes into loiter mode. So it's on its auto takeoff at the moment, right? And then it's going to go into loiter mode. So you'll see it starts banking. So that roll, pitch, and yaw information that we've captured is actually represented onto this isosceles triangle that's going to allow us to sort of simulate the flight. If I move a little bit further through the flight, then I can move to here, say, and press play. I don't know, let's find something that's going to be interesting to look at. Oh yeah, so I was doing a bit of auto tuning, as I remember, and I wanted to do some pitching. So you'll see it will come into this little humpback here. Right, we do that. We come down. We fly out the other side. So this is the God mode, right? So, and you can pause it at any time. You can zoom out, have a look around, see what's going on. And when you finish doing that, you can go back to play again, and it'll pick up where it left off. So it'll just carry on with the flight. So that's the God mode, okay? The other mode, and this is useful really if you just want to see generally how you were flying around the particular area. The cockpit view is pretty much what it says on the tin. So this is me on the ground, the aircraft sitting there, I've just armed it, I'm just moving it around, being a bit of a slow twat, and eventually I'll get into chucking it into the air. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because who needs to see it sitting on the ground? So if I press play now, what you've effectively got is a cockpit view. So you can see this is the part of the flight that I'm doing. So I'm coming down, I'm just doing a low pass over the home point, then climbing up before I hit the trees, coming out the other side. So this is 2 hertz, as I say. It's taking telemetry data twice a second, and I think that's probably enough resolution to get an idea of the flight. And we come and level out. We do a quick little bit of a roll, nice, and coming down. And yeah, I think you probably get the picture from that. And this was kind of a really terrible loop, which didn't work out. We had a bit of stalling on top, but hey, it's part of the fun of flying. And we're coming around to the other side. Now, you can see the HUD keeps coming up here. I've got a bit of work to do on that because it's not really, I'm not too happy with its placement and visibility, right? So I'll do some work on moving that to the right place. But basically, that's what you get. So you can see what was going on during your flight. This was, what was this? This was a loop, I think. Yeah, there you go. A little turn at the bottom. Okay. You can see Wembley Stadium there in the distance. We're flying at Friant Park. And I've got a little treat for you in a minute, because what I've done is I've got the video that I actually recorded, and I'll run that beside the telemetry and you'll see the two things together. And I was shocked the first time I did this, quite how good the Google Earth image looked when compared to the image that came out of the camera, the real world video, as it happens, right? So there you go. That's what you get. Now let's have a look at, well, how accurate is this? How much of a representation of the real world is it? What I'd like to do is, I've got the dogfighting system, and this is part of the dogfighting system. But what's occurred to me is this is more generally useful to people as a data logger, right? So you could fit this to your aircraft just purely as a data logger, even if you don't intend on doing the dogfighting, right? You can fit this to your aircraft as a data logger, and then you can, and when you get home, you can sit there and just look at the flights that you did. If you were trying to practice aerobatics or something, right? You could sit there and say, well, how good was my loop? How good was my how good was my split S, right? So if you go to God view again, right, then you can sit here and you can look around. Oh, whoops, let's go this way. So you can go and look around and you can say, well, where was my loop? Where did I do a loop? I don't think I did here. So, oh yeah, there was a little loop up the top there, right? So I can go and look at this. I can go and look at it from the side. I can go and move it across. I say, well, how did that look, right? And then I can run my flight through till I get to that point and actually play it from there and see how it went. So I can say, well, okay, what was my speed? What was my altitude, right? What was 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the flight, right? So, you know, you guys figure out a way to use this. But I think the people might want to have this as just a way to log their flights and see. You can see there is a nice little pass I did between these trees. And in cockpit view, when you actually run that, it literally goes between the trees. It's quite cool. So, okay, I will now put up the video where you can see a flight, and you can see the Google Earth representation of that flight taken from the telemetry data straight out of the aircraft. So, as I said, you can do this at the field. I've got a little bit of an issue, which I haven't been able to figure out yet. You can run Google Earth. I have an Android phone. You can run Google Earth on it. You can download this to that, and you get this view here, right? You get this view of what exists. And you can see your cockpit view and your God view, but I haven't quite figured out how on earth I get the tools to run on my mobile phone. Now, obviously, if you're at the field, you're going to use your Wi-Fi connection to connect to the aircraft. You'll download the KMZ file, and then what you'll do is you'll reconnect to your cellular connection, and then you'll play this file. And because Google Earth needs to be able to connect to the internet, and you can't be connected to both things at once, right? So I've yet to figure out how to make Android actually play a tour on my phone. So if anyone knows how to do that, I'd very much love to hear it in the comments, right? Because I'd love to test that. But as you can see, on your desktop computer or a laptop, it works absolutely fine. So, you know, you could take your laptop to the field, you could connect to 192.168.4.1, download the KMZ file, and then you just basically connect to a hotspot, and then you can do this at the field if you really wanted to. So that's what I have for you. Again, love to hear the comments. I would love to have you guys subscribe to the channel, because there's more of this content as I start to build out this like door-to-board technology that sits beside iNav, and think of cool things to be able to do with that. And also, if just share it. This is for the community, so, you know, sharing it to the community, if you can help me do that, that would be absolutely fantastic. So enjoy, and I'm very interested to see what you guys can do with this.
Takeoff.